Good evening, everyone. Warren Select Board, May 27th. Public comment. Does anyone have a public comment they'd like to share? No. Agenda changes. We're gonna add a pavilion update. And we'll do that after the town admin.
Yeah, I don't really have an update, so if you want to do it there. So we
Okay,
met
yeah.
like, 2 days ago.
Yeah, pretty much.
Literally.
2 working days. But,
And just a note on Lichen Rock, we're not going to be having any members here to speak, but we will be just acknowledging the letter that we've received and discussing how we want to move forward. I don't have any other changes.
I don't either.
Okay. Welcome new board members. There's Harvey. How are ya?
Hi. Good.
Hi. Oh, I need to fix this screen. How do I get rid of this?
You can make it big.
That's not what I want.
But
Did I close
You can
it?
just minimize that. I think that other screen, yeah. There you go.
There we go. Much better.
That should be our public comment.
What?
Welcome to our 2 new board members.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole own agenda item.
Yeah.
Welcome, guys.
Thanks.
Um,
Thank you.
yeah. You got your packets of information. As we move through the meeting, if there are things that you need clarification on, you want backstory on, any and all of the above, please do not hesitate to ask. We're excited to have you.
Great.
Camilla, anything to add?
Nope. I think that's it. Somebody mentioned to you about getting kind of a walkthrough of all the town properties and
Yep.
yeah, that'd be. I think it's really helpful and
Yeah.
introduction to all the town staff.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Great.
Yeah, I think Harvey's out of town, so once he's
Yeah.
back, we'll plan that.
Yeah.
And we can all do it together.
Great.
And if timing doesn't work to do it together, that's okay
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever works for everyone. Okay, don't hesitate to ask questions.
Got it.
Rebecca, do
Thank
you
you.
have, and Harvey, anything you want to say or add before we move on?
No, just happy to be here.
Great. An update?
I don't really have one.
Okay. Can I ask a couple questions?
Yeah.
STR ordinance?
Yeah, I followed up with them today.
Okay.
I thought maybe I would get something back before the end of the day, but I didn't hear from her. You saw that?
Yeah.
And I thought we would have heard from them by now, because they thought just a few weeks, but we didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll hear back from her tomorrow.
Okay.
Yep.
It's STR.
The short-term rental ordinance.
Yeah.
So we've been working with Granicus, which is the software provider for collating all of the information, and our job is to pass an ordinance allowing us to form a registry for short-term rentals. And so the planning commission drafted an ordinance, we reviewed and edited it, and we have submitted it to VLCT for legal review, where it has been sitting for quite some time.
Do you guys both know what BLCT is and how we use them?
Vermont.
Okay. Vermont League of Cities and Towns. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they are kind of a resource for everything municipal. Literally, legal questions, administrative, operational, everything. And they do a lot of trainings.
Procedure, all of it.
You'll start receiving emails from them about trainings they offer. Highly recommend any and all. Open meeting law, we just did that one, but when they offer it again, that's a really important one, good one.
Yeah. I'll get you guys signed up
Okay.
once you have your Warren VT. They did send me an email this afternoon, so I'll forward you your Warren VT new, passwords and stuff tomorrow,
Okay.
so that you can get those done, and then I'll get you both set up with an account. And they have some really good webinars and just some overall really good trainings. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, excellent resource, and they have a lot of information just on the website.
Right. Yeah.
If you need an answer to how a thing is done, or you know, what our role is, what our duties are, any and all of that, it's mostly available on the website as well.
Okay.
So we are awaiting this legal review of the short-term rental ordinance with the hopes that we can quickly pass it into law for our little town. And then we'll start getting registration for short-term rentals and collating data.
Cool.
Yeah. Rachel's contract.
I
you
sent that to her
today.
Today.
Okay.
So I said maybe we could get this signed by the end of the week, so that we can, we'll keep moving forward with it.
Yeah, great.
So.
I got wind today from Sam that she got a grant for picnic tables.
Great.
And there are 4 picnic tables that they're going to be adding to the playground space.
Awesome.
And the new structure's up. I have tested all of the features except for one slide, and it was really cool.
Nice.
It was a lot of fun, and the kids had a great time on it, and it's definitely unique, which I think is a good addition to the valley. I think I had another question.
You wanted to know about, was it this in regards to the email that you sent me at the end of the day?
Not necessarily,
Okay.
but the MOU
Yep.
with Harwood, we're gonna work on after we get Rachel's.
Okay.
So basically, Nick has introduced us to a new contract that he feels would be better suited for both us and the school. I'm just going through it to make sure that we've captured every little thing. Like the power board that we hold, it's not necessarily through the school, but it's for the school buses to get charged in the wintertime. I'm feeling like maybe we should incorporate that into it. So
Where is that?
So the power board, you know where the school buses park?
Yeah.
In that first parking lot, there's a power board right there
Oh, okay.
that they use in the wintertime to charge the buses.
Do they charge
we
the
pay
buses or
it.
heat? Are they electric?
They're engine block heaters.
Engine block
yeah.
heaters, that's right. Okay, that's what I was wondering.
And so basically, we pay that bill up front, and then first student is supposed to reimburse us for that. It's not going so great.
Oh.
So
definitely
Dana and I have been trying to work with the school and first student to get them caught up. They're significantly behind. And so we've got their attention at this point, but I feel like that should be a part of that
It should,
contract.
absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
And so, backstory guys, we are working through a memorandum of understanding with the Harwood Union Unified School District with respect to the space around Warren School. The district owns the building and we own all of the property. And then, so we have like sort of agreements on who manages what and who does what, and we're just trying to codify all of that into one document so everyone knows what to expect from one another. Oh, that reminds me, tree work. Has that been done? Did they take the trees down?
I am not sure. I haven't seen a bill.
Okay, you left it
but
with
I left
them?
it with them to coordinate.
Okay.
They'll probably wait and do it once the kids are out of
Kids are at
school.
school.
Right.
Okay,
So
all right, cool.
And we haven't seen the looters yet.
correct.
Okay. Is that
Ruth
something you
is
could-
almost done with her piece.
Okay.
I
So
think
you're
she's
checking
waiting
in
for
with
some
her?
maps
Yeah.
from Central Vermont Regional Planning. And she's hoping that within the next couple of weeks, I keep checking in with her, but that's basically what she's waiting for.
Okay.
Yep. Before she she just wants everything together before she passes it on.
Okay.
Because we already have
Final.
Nick's comments.
Yeah, right.
And we haven't done anything with them because we're not sure. I don't think there's a lot of changes from the planning commission coming forward. I think there were some changes to maybe some zones, but that's it maybe.
Yeah, and I don't think they're new
Okay,
changes. They're
okay.
things we discussed but never got
Got
into
it.
the draft, so shouldn't be anything
Okay.
significant.
Yep.
Guys, up to speed on that.
Yippee! That's gonna
Land
be
use and
so
development
fun.
regulations that have been in the works for 150 years.
Yeah.
Anytime you want to start reading them.
Yeah.
Riveting.
All right, thanks.
Okay, cool. Anything else? I think that's most of it.
Oh, there's a small update on the doors.
Oh, yeah, what
They weren't
happened?
taken out Friday. He had a delay with there's something about a trailer that he was getting fixed, and he hasn't gotten it back yet. he promises that they'll be taken out this Friday, but it worked out because it was super cold. And so he is staying in touch.
All is well.
But you know, he is,
Yeah,
you know, going to take the doors out this Friday.
cool.
Or maybe Thursday if he can make that work with his schedule, because they said there's nobody over there on Thursdays.
Yeah, that's true. That would be-
Okay. Ooh, sorry. That's great.
Yep.
Awesome. Anything else? Okay. I'm gonna put my other hat on for a pavilion update. Joel, Harvey, I am acting as the builder in this capacity, not as a select board member. And I sent everyone an email today about where we are and where we hope to be by the 31st, and then with the hopes of having another week to finish the railing piece that has just been thrown on our plate. So currently I think we'll have the benches and the decking complete, which is the scope that we were expecting to perform. And we need to weld up a railing that was previously going to be done by another contractor. So I can't fit that in the schedule by the 31st, try as we might. Other than that, I think we'll be pretty good. The only thing that might be outstanding is I'm oiling the decking in place and it needs to cure. So it'll be done, but it might be roped off for an extra day or two, as far as use is concerned.
So, aside from using it, it should be complete. It will be complete by Friday. It's just the railing piece that would need.
The due date is Saturday, so by the end of the day Saturday,
Okay.
the scope of work that I was planning on completing will be complete,
Okay.
to the best of my knowledge.
Does the railing have to be there to, like, for code compliance? Can we just put a temporary something up? Does
Has
it-
to be there for the grant,
Yeah.
to satisfy the grant.
Yeah.
Because that was a condition of.
Also for code compliance. Yeah,
Yes.
Stan has been
But,
here
yeah.
and I passed that on to you.
Yep.
And he's advised on what he'd like to see. So, yeah, it needs to be done. And it needs to be done in order for the grant to be closed out. And, that's your piece, but I think the deadline for that is the 31st.
Right. So that tells me that we need to apply for another extension. Is that correct?
Can I bring up a point? I think we need to put up a contract and have a penalty onto that contract. If we don't have it finished, it needs to have something like Pike, I think it's, I don't know how much they take off, it's a fine of $500 a day or something. I know that if I don't pay the school bill, it's a $25,000 education to the state that the town is given. If we don't pay a bond, it's another fine, if it's not paid by the deadline that it was due. I think if we are going to do it, I think that the select board should write another contract if there is an extension, and have some kind of penalty clause if it's not by that week or whatever you guys say, per day, or up to you. But that's my 2 cents.
Why do you think that's necessary, Dana?
It hasn't been met, the deadlines have not been met. And there is no penalty clause in any other RFP that the town has received. There is a penalty clause.
Sorry, in any other RFP that we
Yeah.
engage in, there is a
Pike,
penalty clause?
Like the
Pike, I
Pike
know.
one, if it's not done, I'm saying even the state payment towards the education,
those are-
there's penalty clauses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's part of, it's a deadline,
Right.
it's a minute.
right.
That's my opinion.
That's not a contract I'd be familiar with writing, but just to back up for a second, as far as getting another extension, what's the process for getting it set? The original deadline, what was the original deadline?
The original?
Yeah,
June 15th.
There was 3, yeah,
June 15th,
June 2024.
right.
yeah.
And then we pushed it to December?
December 31st.
Right.
That is not my understanding at
December
all.
2nd was
It-
when
the
the
first
grant
one
had to
was
be finished.
either the end of August or the beginning of September.
September, I believe.
And we-
The grant needed to be finished and submitted by the 2nd of September, and it was not.
September.
But
And
our-
we didn't get an extension to
The
December though, you
RFP
just
said
went
June
all the way
15th.
through May.
Hold on,
I'm
hold
sorry,
on.
the RFP that the select board wrote was June 15th.
I'm asking about extensions. So for the grant,
Oh,
we had to ask for an extension beyond September 2nd.
Yeah.
yes.
And what was that second due date?
I'm just looking.
May 31st.
I think the second one was December 31st.
I think it was December.
And then we asked for a third extension
As I recall, it was
for May
December.
31st.
Yes, that's
Okay.
true.
So,
And at the select board meeting, it was, you guys, we talked about if it wasn't done by the 31st of May, what would we do?
and what did we conclude?
It was said that it would be done.
Right. So as far as being able to get another extension, that's my question.
Oh, sorry.
That's where I'm.
The last conversation that I had with Jenny, she said that there is a possibility for another extension. But, you know, possibility and yes, we have an approved extension is, you know, they don't want us to return the money. They want to see us complete this project.
Right.
They don't want us to drag it out for 6 more weeks.
Right.
So I think your request was for June.
I'm confident that I can have it finished by one more week. Guys,
Right.
I had someone in line to do the railing.
Right.
Yeah.
We're working our tails off. I am offended by Dana's comment. I am really surprised by the lack of appreciation for the value of the donation that we're putting forward. And we are doing our best. This is what I have. How you guys want to deal with the grant is on your side.
Thanks. Joel and Harvey, do you have any questions or any?
So does the terms of the agreement for the grant and to receive all the money, the entire thing from your original concept or what, everything has to be done, is that correct? Like, so no matter what, and so you couldn't put up like a temporary railing as something that is, you know, as a filler between actually finding another metal worker, and would that conflict with the grant?
It would, because it's temporary.
Okay.
It's got to be 100% complete.
Okay.
Together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess the question, sorry, just, if we do not meet the conditions of the grant, then we forfeit all of the grant money, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Have we been paid back for anything that we paid out yet? Or do we submit it all at once?
It's already been received.
We've received 80% of the money.
Yeah.
And 80% of the money of the $40,000 that we applied to grant from other better places. So the town has received $32,000, I think it is. I think we'll get $8,000 is outstanding.
So what's at risk, in other words, if we don't
All of
complete
the
it?
money we have to
Which is how much?
40,000.
40,000.
And
right.
then what do we do with the money that was contributed? We have to
Right.
match it,
Right.
you know. but-
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, it's not like we're not going to finish it. If we should
Exactly.
forfeit it,
exactly.
we would hope to keep that money, and then the town would have to pick
Right,
up
we
the
would keep
$40,000.
$20,000. We would
Right.
keep 20 and we would have to return the 32,000.
So it seems to me that the most important thing we can do is not forfeit the $40,000 at this
Right.
point. So I didn't mean to interrupt. Harvey, did you have any questions, or Joel anymore?
Well, I guess I was just, and maybe this was the question you asked, Camilla, but what's involved in requesting an extension and how quickly could we do that?
It's a matter of sending them an email, which I can do, you know, before I leave here tonight,
Okay.
and we'll have an answer tomorrow.
Wonderful.
So it's not a complicated process to
Okay.
ask, and they want to see us complete this project.
Right.
So
Yeah.
We want to see the project get completed.
So what would we ask? We would ask for an extension to June 6th for, do we have to be any more specific than that? What it is that we're finishing, or do we have to give them any?
I'd like to
Background.
be specific for them, so I think if it's just the railings, I can basically use the language from Devin's email.
Yeah.
And ask for it based on that. She, I've given her some pictures of the, recent pictures of the progress. They're super excited about it. They can't wait to come out and see it when it's done. So I can use some of the language in there if you guys are comfortable with that and ask for the extension until the 6th or whatever date it was that you had put in there, 7th, whatever it was.
Can I make a point of clarification? Did you say the railing was an addition? Did someone say that earlier?
She said she, the person.
No.
No, I had someone on board to do,
Oh, so it was
to
part of the
build the
original.
It
railing.
was the original.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I misheard.
they bailed on Monday.
Can I say something? It's gorgeous.
Thanks, Tori.
It's really unique and it's
beautiful.
gorgeous. And with all the rain that's happened,
It's been a challenge.
that, it must have been horrible.
So that's a week.
Is there any reason, Rebecca, to ask for 2 weeks, just so there's a little leeway?
I don't have a problem with that, but that's up to you three.
Yeah, rock in a hard place.
I like leeway.
Yeah, it's hard because we have pushed it out already so many times. But to your point, and what I said, the worst thing we can do is put ourselves at risk for losing this grant.
Yeah.
So I'd rather not give extra time, but I'd rather not lose the money. So
I don't know what the relationship with the grant company or person is,
administrator, yeah.
is like. So
They've
14
been,
versus 7 days. I don't
Yeah.
know if they'd be.
Right? No, I don't think they would.
No.
No, they wouldn't care. I don't think. I mean,
No.
I'm speaking, but
It seems to me like if we're gonna ask for it,
I mean, I
we
would-
might as well give ourselves a little bit of a pat, because if you can't find a welder,
Yeah.
right?
Well, we'll do it in-house.
Yeah.
I don't, this person was gonna donate their time. They've had the materials since July
Okay.
of last year.
All right.
So we now have the materials and we'll do it. It shouldn't take too long, it's not at height, so it doesn't need 4 inches spacing. I hope it goes well, but I mean, anyone in the industry knows, you never know what's gonna happen. So, like I said, that's our projected completion, and what you all wanna do with the grant is up to you.
because
Devin,
Yeah.
with weather, could that delay the welding as well? If there's continued rains and,
Yeah, I
or
don't
can you weld in the,
think so, because we're planning to fabricate it in our shop and then install it. The other person was gonna do it on site in place, so I don't know how that final connection happens, whether it needs to be welded to the base plates or if I think they're being attached with the screws that are already there. So I don't think that weather will be a primary factor for this. It's something we can do inside.
I would be in favor of 2 weeks.
so that was put us at what? June 14th, 14th, 13th?
13th or 14th.
Well, so right
The
now,
31st.
the extension is through the 31st. That's a Saturday. So if you're looking at 2 more weeks, that's the 14th. So, okay,
Okay.
I will ask.
Do we need to make a motion, or do we just?
Yeah, I think we should make a motion just to make it official.
I move that we direct Rebecca to request an extension for the pavilion grant, moving the date from May 31st to June 14th to complete railings. Second?
Second?
I second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Does Stan have to inspect that before he'll give the okay?
That probably, my guess is that's probably not linked to the grant piece.
Okay,
Right,
all right.
but we may not be able
Because
to
I know
use it
how-
until Stan does, I don't
Yeah.
know, but the
I know
grant
how Stan
part
is
wouldn't,
and how busy he is, so.
yeah.
He was just here, what, less than a week ago?
Yeah, and he chatted with Taylor. He
Yeah.
said everything looked good. They talked about the benches, and he was like, everything's so close to the ground, you're fine.
Okay.
Mostly it's handrails
Right.
up the handicap access.
Any other
And I think
discussion?
he'll just probably, I mean, we can call him, or like technically you're responsible
Yeah.
for the permit, so it's best if you guys call him and let him know when
Yep.
it's complete. But if you need, I mean, you have a good relationship with him, so.
Yep, I will do that.
Any other discussion?
Part 2 on the pavilion, we do need to have the select board vote on the town officials. Do you know that? With the, now that you have a quorum.
Yeah, right. No,
Okay.
vote on,
On using employees for the pavilion. Do you remember we had to
Yeah,
vote it for the
yeah.
auditor?
I think,
I have
to
that
bring
on,
these
I
guys
have
up
that
to
on.
speed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
let's-
have that on the
thank you.
next.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what that was, I was
Okay,
gonna ask
yeah.
about that. Okay, motion to extend, seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Rebecca. Thanks, Devin.
Thanks, Devin.
I had a question about that actually, about the outlets. I was thinking for, what if we put a switched outlet on there so you could,
For the string lights?
for the string lights, it might be an easy, like simple solution to have a switch instead of, having to plug it in every time.
Yeah.
Just as,
Yeah,
just
it's a
as
good idea. I
notion.
think we were a little nervous about having a switched outlet for lights, just that like someone might turn them on when you didn't want them on or whatnot, but we can certainly connect at another time, and Kevin should be coming hopefully soon, and we could direct him to do that.
I would do it a little up, a
Yeah.
little high.
Or a photo
That's a
cell.
bridge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
think
talked-
we were
yeah.
hoping for a photo cell and a timer, but the budget doesn't allow that right now.
Yeah.
If you guys want to talk about, if you want to talk about lighting, we can do that. We were, originally, there was an ask for just some really simple string lighting. And once it was up, we were all talking about how we could provide ambient lighting. And Jim and Ellen and I were consulting, and we sort of came up with the idea of LED strip lighting around the perimeter, on the top of the beam that's hidden, the outside perimeter, and then the one that steps in, the lower one. And Kevin has supplied me with an estimate for that. Right now in the grant, there's $1,300 to put toward lighting, and his estimate, materials and labor, was just north of $5,000, but he said that he would be willing to donate his labor, and so the material cost was around $24,000. But it's not something that the board has had a quorum available to talk about or move. So we were deciding sort of to just have do what we can within the budget that's provided, and talk about it later.
I think we need to focus on getting the piece done as much as we
Yeah.
can for the grant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
Cool.
Moving on.
all right.
Just a point
Okay.
of information, the gazebo in Waitsfield, the power is in a box on the side. So the box is locked, so
Right.
no one can, it's a pain at times if you.
Yeah, I was gonna
if you
say,
don't have
then you gotta go back and turn it off when they're done with it, yeah, right. Yeah,
I think the plan here was to provide some outlets for use for people for events and
computers and whatever.
any such things, as well as a Wi-Fi extender, and just some really simple lighting.
Do you have enough power for a band?
Yeah, we do. We'll have 100 amps out there.
Oh, okay.
So unless they have like really high tech lasers and such, I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there is a Wi-Fi extender already outside now.
There is, yeah. It's something that Dana had been pretty adamant that we needed to include in that pavilion, and
It's already up there.
But it's already,
Jeff already.
it's outside of our
The
building.
whole green is Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's been there for a while.
Yeah.
well, I know that we have. So is that not needed anymore?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I mean, it reaches almost the post office, so.
Okay. Well, that would be good to know as the person who's supposed to be installing it. Do you want me to take that off of his scope? Because otherwise, he's gonna find one and bill us for
Yeah.
bill you all
Yeah.
for one.
If,
It would've been North Branch to do it anyways, so.
right. Are we signing off that you've got what you need out
Yeah,
there?
it was done, like, when we talked in May, it was done. We were taking care of that at that point. Or when we talked in last year, or October, that was already signed up by Andy.
So it sounds like you can take that off
Yeah.
the scope.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I pulled a conduit for nothing.
Nah, we'll use it someday. I don't
Okay.
know.
All right. Are we good on pavilion?
Yeah.
Mad Marathon permit. Tori, Ian.
Yes.
It's quite interesting. This is our 14th year, and it's nice to see a change of people here, by the way. We've had the same people this end of the table
That end of the table,
for
yeah.
12 years, I think. But so yeah, this is our 14th. We've slipped a week this year because we would have been right next to July 4th, which we
Right.
always said originally, or when we agreed with Waitsfield to do it. It would not be on the same weekend as July 4th. So this year we're on the 13th of July. All our permits are in place. VTran is signed off. We have the VTran permit. We have our insurance with USAT, and I have your certificate here. Should you give us a permit. Other than that, Dory can say a few words because we had a really good thing.
I brought you the book, so I felt the town should have a copy of the book, and thank you for my help at the library about the book. And so we're right after London Marathon.
Wow.
That's the first picture.
That's
Nice.
very cool.
Nice.
Awesome.
And then it's running down East Warren Road and an antique shop, and then it goes on to another one.
Wow.
Anyway, but the smallest one
Yeah.
in the whole book. We're
It's
right
okay.
after London, and you can see there's France, Paris,
Wow.
China.
Amazing.
Yeah, so we have a great team. I'm very proud of
Congratulations.
them. Our registration's up 40%.
40?
So
Wow.
we're excited about that.
What, year over year? 40%?
40% more than last year.
Yeah. Wow.
We don't know how it's gonna end up.
Yeah.
But we have a lot more. Vermonters used to be way down in the list of runners. Now we have the 5K, 10K added, so we have families coming. So originally, Town of Waitsfield and Chamber asked us to do it the weekend after the 4th of July, so to keep people here. And it's working as far as people coming with their kids, people coming with RVs. I've had a little bit of trouble with people from Canada, who every time I post something on Facebook, they say, we're not coming until that person's gone, or all sorts of stuff like that. But otherwise, it's, and we had more Canadians than ever until January. Then it slumped down. Now we're starting to pick up more because more people are talking about the relationship and the people. So I think that's good.
Good.
So I wanted the town to have a copy if you-
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
keep it in the file. And we're hoping Bart, the author, has been invited to come. So Friday we have our free concert at the Round Barn. And then Saturday is our carbo dinner. And we have 2 people that published books this past year that are going to be there to sign, and we're hoping Bart can come, but his health isn't good right now, so we'll see. But he does mention that I hug everybody at the end. So,
That's very cool.
yeah, if you look at the other ones, it's impressive. So he talks about the valley, he talks about covered bridges and Ben and Jerry's and all the good stuff. So.
Always Ben and Jerry's.
If you could just remind me what you want on the sign going up Dump Road.
Pending that Dump Road is in better shape than it is now. Basically for access to I-89,
Just I-89, okay.
or you can put Boston and it covers it too, so.
So, and I think one thing in the letter that y'all sent that we talk about each year is that, you use the verbiage that the roads will be closed. And I think that the board has been pretty clear that we don't want to close the roads, but that we want proper signage and awareness so that cars can still pass.
Oh, wait, really? We've always had them closed. It's safer.
It's for residents, the
Res- I
roads
was
are
gonna
open
say,
for
Resident
residents
use
only.
only.
Local
Yeah.
traffic only.
Local
or
traffic
something like
only,
that.
which,
Yeah.
and so
that
there's
is
the
right.
difference,
Yeah.
right? That I think needs to be clarified, because we have had times when local traffic can't get, to their house or something.
Or they think
Because
they
it
can't.
says, they think they can't, because it says road closed. So we need to be clear that it's local traffic only.
We'll make sure that the final in the Valley Reporter says that specifically, that it's open for local residents.
Okay. And then road signage,
Well, we've got a zillion road signs.
and what do they say?
Oh,
Do they say road closed? Do the signs say road closed?
yes, they say closed.
Yeah, I think that I think previous boards have taken issue with this, so I just want to make sure that we have this conversation.
Well, our bottom line is your only
Hi, Kaylee.
access is where Jeff is.
Yeah.
So he's well aware when people get there.
So the marshals do a good job, if there's people coming off of like out of East Warren and stuff like that, they wanna get to Waitsfield, they push them to Route 100 rather than taking East Warren Road. So there's always the people that still come up Brook Road trying to get to 89, and we just tell them to take it slow and that there's runners on both sides of the road, and most people understand that. So if we can get them going up more Dump Road, so then it's just going across the four-way intersection, it's a lot safer than them trying to turn right onto Roxbury Mountain.
And we always have some local resident who insists that, I can give you some examples, but they insist that they're going to drive up and down the road.
Right.
Because it's my road, I can do that.
Right,
But fortunately, the last couple of years, people
It's
have been
much
much
better.
better.
good. So does this board have any problem with the sign saying road closed?
It's just the one place, and you're staged there anyway, on
Plumpton Road.
one end.
It's at,
East Warren Road,
And
Brook
Brook
Road
Road.
and Plumpton is where I'm at.
We
Right.
put a sign in the village,
Yeah.
and we put a sign just up where the dump road starts, to say it's
yeah, at the
closed.
four corners there, right? At the four
top end.
corners of Airport, Roxbury Mountain Road, and,
No, in the
he
village, we
means
have a
down
sign in the
here
village.
Yeah.
At Dump Road.
Originally, we used to have some volunteers there, but, we just can't get enough volunteers.
right,
And then we have another sign just up past the junction to the school, and then we have another sign up where Jeff is, saying road closed.
I would say 90% of the people that come up Brook Road are either going to 89 or Blueberry Lake.
okay, and the route that you want closed to them is,
I'd rather see people be able to take Dump Road to get to 89.
okay, and what if they're going to Blueberry Lake?
Lake, yeah.
I mean, if
We
they
have a
go up Fuller
diversion
Hill,
in for that. We have
Where
two
we go over
diversion signs.
Senor Road,
They go up Fuller Hill.
up Fuller Hill.
Yeah.
So Brook Road to Plunkton is what's closed,
Yeah.
all the way out to 100 on Plunkton? What's the route? I forget, remember.
So they come down to Senor.
No, it's only up to Fuller Hill.
Okay, and then they come Senor Road.
Yeah.
And hopefully they don't go over Roxbury Mountain Road,
No.
like last year.
Oh, that-
Oh my gosh, those poor people. There were like 3 of them or something, right?
Yeah.
It was Mark, but they just didn't.
The person wasn't there. I remember we chatted about this,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Ian? The person wasn't there to direct them, and my husband happened to encounter them at the top of the gap. And he's like, "What are you guys doing?" He's like, "They're like, what?"
And if it is the way back down, it's downhill, so.
That's a big unnecessary climb.
So the only thing I was thinking, the signs that, like for instance, last week or whenever it was, when Airport Road and a couple other roads were closed only to local traffic. We had, what's the wording?
Road posted through traffic.
To through traffic?
Yeah,
is
to
that
through
it?
traffic.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And I know we have those signs, I don't know.
Do you have,
if That's something,
we can
We
put
could-
those out if you can let us use them.
should want to talk to Andrew about that.
Yeah, I can talk to Andrew about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would help
might be helpful.
clarify, yeah.
Just, yeah, that it's, yeah, not through traffic. So
But it's never been
that,
major though, has it? It's never been a major problem.
It hasn't been too bad, like I said, it's everybody that's trying to get to 89 or Braylon.
yeah,
And
Yeah,
then the occasional
it's just a suggestion.
locals that,
I don't think it's too big a deal.
No, I think that's actually a good idea.
And we have it at
I
the
think
other
the
end.
only
at the end of the
feedback
month.
that I heard last year was I don't remember what the wording on the sign is, but the one that was at the bottom of Dump Road was confusing to people.
was it road closed as opposed to closed to through traffic?
No, it was a diversion.
No, it had,
Oh, it was a
it
divergence?
had,
It's a
yeah, diversion, I
lost
think
in
people didn't understand.
Oh, okay.
Which is,
So that speaks to Jeff's point that if we say, you know, take this route to 89, that's clearer? You think, Kaylee?
or detour to 89.
Detour to 89?
Detour
Is
is the
the
right
right
word.
word, yeah. Yeah.
Is that a thing you have?
I can get a big detour sign and put on the bottom of the sign to I-89.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that would, yeah.
that's a great idea. And then the road
Everybody
closed
understands
sign is
that.
at the Brook Road, right at the same location, right? Detour, that works.
I can get an extra sign from Kingsbridge, that's not a problem.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, do we have a detour sign?
I'm sure Andrew's got all sorts of signs.
Yeah. Let us know if you can't find one.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've got the insurance certificate. The route is the same.
Exactly the same.
Parties are in Waitsfield.
Yep.
Any other questions for Ian and Dory?
And hopefully they'll do the road on there. They say they're actually going to repave East Warren Road.
Yeah.
They
Because the demarcation between Warren and
Ish.
Wakefield is dreadful.
And it looks good for us, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
When I did the Wastefield permit, I asked about, because Slow Road's a mess, and the whole area around the shops.
Yeah.
But I learned from them that Cross Point in Massachusetts is selling,
Are they?
Yeah.
yeah, they're selling it. So I emailed John, the owner, and asked, you know, because we have our insurance with them, and I wanted to make sure it was clear that it wasn't sold, but I'm trying to convince him that runners aren't gonna appreciate all the
Yeah.
Puka's Hawaiian holes in the road. So, because it's really dangerous.
Yeah,
It is.
it is.
It all
For
looks
cars,
fixed.
humans, everyone involved. What do they say?
Some of them are, he didn't get back to me yet. So, we'll see.
Well, keep
That's
squeaking.
at the beginning of the race.
No, it doesn't. It's at the end of the race where they come off 100 and go into the Mad River Green. And it's only, for us, it's only about 70 yards.
Yeah.
And I mark all the holes.
But it's
it would
everybody
be nice
parking
if-
there and driving there
Yeah.
too, that, yeah, that's challenging.
Well, Waitsfield's gonna pave Slow Road,
Oh, good.
so that'll be done. It's just then the rest of,
Oh,
Huh.
that's good.
You know, it's because
it's a detour
yeah,
for people's
because it's a
cars.
V-Tran detour. You know, the
Right.
part by the bank is terrible, as you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's horrible.
Yeah, that one's an axle breaker, I swear. Anything else that we need prior to approving this permit? Any
Jeff?
questions? Joel, Harvey, Kaylee, you're good? Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the permit for the Mad Marathon on July 13th.
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Awesome. Permission granted.
Thank you.
Thank
Go
you.
forth. Have
Thanks. Yeah, I'll
fun.
scan you the signed copy, John.
Okay, thank
Right?
you.
Thank
Do you
you.
want me to email something?
Nah, this is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for the book. Yeah. Cool.
That's so cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. It also drives a lot of traffic. It's interesting, 40% increase.
Yeah.
All right, Susan knows what's up. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you all.
4th of July permit.
Yes.
And Bob. Ben, sorry. Devin, Camilla, Joel,
Yes.
Harvey, and Kaylee. Oh, she left. There, she's there.
There she is.
There she is.
Nice to meet everybody. So we are here to request formal permission or approval of the permit, and I'm here to answer any questions you have.
I forgot Rebecca.
He already knows.
She's very important.
Rebecca and I go with me.
Okay.
And you should all have the memo.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, can you just talk us through what's the same, what's different? Is everything the same? Is anything different?
Yeah, almost everything's the same. Same times, same road closures, same bands, same general format. The one major difference is we're gonna have a couple food vendors up here in the municipal parking lot from the Warren store. And so we're gonna kind of have split vendors, some at the Warren store parking lot and some up here. And that is kind of a testing ground this year, and next year we may move the whole thing up here from the Warren store. So we may have a band up here, pending your approval, and more of the food vendors up here. But this year, just 2 food vendors up in the parking lot. And the band and their other food vendors still down there. So I keep up my hand in front of her face. Otherwise, really the same format as previous years.
So talk to us about placement for food vendors up here, keeping in mind that we have the porta potties, right? And handicap parking.
Yeah, so the idea is 2 food vendors when you first come up and make a right. So the pavilion will be on your left.
Okay.
Yes, right behind us. Put the 2 food vendors there so they can be seen from the road. We'll also have a bunch of signs, but they can be seen from the road. That shouldn't interfere with handicap parking. And because the band wouldn't be up here this year, nothing is impacted by the road up to the cemetery or anything else. Next year, if we do more up here, we'll have to really map it out.
The green space where the pavilion is, can you put food vendors in the green space?
We could, but the idea is we want it to be seen from the road. So where we have it currently located, it can be seen. And we only need space for 2. So I don't think, but maybe next year.
Yeah, the idea should be to drive the traffic, the people, the foot traffic, give them a reason to come here. Now, without the pavilion being in play this year, there's less reason. Once the pavilion is in play, the people will be coming up here.
Yeah.
And if there's food, they'll eat it.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely work with the select board and whoever your designee is to plot out exactly what makes sense, make sure there's safe egress, for emergencies.
Yeah.
So it just, we'll work with you if that time comes.
Yeah.
But for this year, just the two vendors at the top of the hill, not impeding anybody's lawn chair space.
I was going to say that. So if they stay to the green side of the road, right? Because I know, a lot of people sit up all the way up to the driveway, especially because it's shady. So, we see a lot of elderly folks up there.
We'll definitely take a look at it once we get the size of their setup.
Yeah, Kaylee?
That's also one of the only spaces that if you are handicapped that you can still sit on level ground is on the edge of that hill. So just recognizing that parking space is kind of dual purpose in some way.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
So just, I would want to make sure that we don't block that for folks.
Last year, there was an incident in my driveway. Someone parked in my driveway just before the parade started. I didn't recognize him, he's a local person. And he refused to move. And Susan came and the sheriff. We had difficulty moving him. And I don't remember who it was, but it might have been a sheriff, or maybe it was the people who, the private security,
yeah.
asked them to park on the other side of the town hall. So there, and I was surprised because there were other cars parking there, and I had never seen cars parking on that green space.
Yeah.
They were actually on the grass on the.
Yes, there were a few cars there. It was like, it's when the security guy said, or actually it was, now I remember, it was a sheriff who told him to park over there. And he didn't even want to move over there. He insisted he had a right to be in my driveway because he insisted that my driveway would belong to the town. But in any event, it was resolved.
Fortunately, it was an isolated incident. I don't
It
think.
was a very isolated
So
incident.
we will guard against it as best we can. But
Yeah, no, I don't
record's
expect
pretty
it to
good.
happen. You know, it was definitely, but my reason for bringing it up was making use of that green space which is about 35% occupied by the pavilion. So you're not going to be using the green space this year,
Right.
but you will try to use it next year?
We'll know better next year. Can't answer that tonight.
Yeah, Jim.
I had a question about the food vendors. So is it open to any vendor that wants to use the municipal parking lot?
No, there's limited spots, and so.
But
sorry.
how do we decide who gets to be a food vendor?
The town of Warren is working with the Mad River Valley Rotary Club to be the producers of the event. So it's in the discretion of the Rotary Club parade staff team.
But it's the
Just
town
like
of
it-
Warren's municipal lot. That's my.
But the Brooksfield is also ours, and we've
Brooksfield's
always
also-
given them the permission to make those decisions.
Okay. And so is it, do we actively seek other people? I mean, how do we advertise that? Is it just?
Is it who you know? Like, I think what Jim's getting
What
at
I'm
is like,
saying is
if there's
that'd
an
be a
interested party,
prime thing for somebody to.
right, if there's an interested party, how do they get in touch with
Fly.
you?
You should reach
And-
out to the email on the website, which will
Okay.
come to me.
Or to Rebecca, who will
To Rebecca.
divert them.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then we'll consider it. Now, historically, we haven't turned, well, I should say this year, we haven't turned anybody away. And in fact, I mentioned 2 food vendors. I'd like your permission to add a third if I can find them, because we want more food
Yeah.
options. But we don't have more people. I've actually reached out to a few restaurants to try to recruit more food
Yeah.
vendors this year.
Jim, did you have someone in mind?
Well.
Mention it to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a small fee, vendor fee, which helps to offset some of the considerable expenses.
Can
Yeah,
you
no,
talk
I understand.
to that?
It just seems like it'd be pretty cool.
So
It'd be a
you're
great bet.
actually, the demand for vendor space is not that strong.
Right.
Well, up until this year, we've only had food vendors down here in the Warren store, and we haven't had room for more vendors. If we're going to move up here this year for a couple, we can fit a third. And then also up in Brooksfield, we can afford to have a couple food vendors up there. So this is the first year where we've had space for more vendors.
Can you speak to the fee structure for that? I think you said it's in keeping with what our policies are. Can you just, how does it work?
Yes.
How does a food vendor, what do they pay? What's the expectation?
$225 to the town,
Okay.
and that for down here.
Yep.
If they're up at Brooksfield only, just 150, and if they're both, it's some kind of discount. It's a combination, it's not.
Susan, do you have permission to use the post office parking?
No, we may not use the post office.
That would be ideal if we could.
And when there are food vendors in the parking area, by the Warren store, that is not paid to us. That's
All comes towards the budget, yeah. Any money, buddy badges, sales, food vendors, sponsors, all goes to the town of Warren.
all of the food vendors in the Warren store parking lot.
Not their vendor fee,
Okay.
not their sales, just their vendor fee. No money
Understood.
goes, no money goes to the Rotary, it all goes to the
No,
town.
I know.
Even if
I'm
it's
wondering
on their
if
property.
it's on the Warren store's property.
Yeah,
Who is that fee being paid to?
The town of
town of Warren.
The Warren store is essentially donating use of their space
Okay.
to the town for the morning.
Good to know.
Great.
But who decides who's a food vendor in the Warren store parking?
The owner of the Warren store.
Okay, so all the food vendors in there have to get their permission from the Warren store.
That's right. That's why 2 food vendors are moving up here this year, because they did not get permission.
Can we just go back to parking real quick? Being sensitive to Carl's area, because I think people do assume that that is town property, and it's not. Would it be helpful if we put up no parking signs?
Yeah.
Yeah, we put no parking signs up everywhere, so
Okay.
we can give you no parking signs,
Yeah,
post them however you want.
It's 30 years ago
Yeah.
it was a problem. It hasn't been a problem for
Okay.
hasn't been a problem for
Because they think it does.
But if it moves up
But
here,
it
it
does
might be.
Yeah.
look like it should be.
Yeah, so we can,
And I am most of the time there, so
yeah,
I have not experienced that. I mean, I put the sign up, but
yeah. We can just
There are
surveyor's tape
usually-
Yeah.
and kind of block it off.
usually a few people park there who ask me if they can park there. Yeah, if you want to put the
We'll
sign
work with
there,
you, for
just
sure.
an arrow.
Yeah.
But no one can park up here unless they're have a handicap permit or something.
They could park up there, but in this lot right here, just handicap.
No.
Well,
Handicap.
that's not entirely true.
Workers, you know,
Yeah.
the security people, the buddy badge, people who are working.
Sorry, the volunteers, yes.
Volunteers. Yeah.
There are parking spaces.
But those that are able-bodied, park up there. Those who
Park
are
up-
older,
Where are you pointing?
cemetery.
To the cemetery.
To the
Those who are
cemetery.
not able-bodied to make that climb, they park down here.
And
But we try to.
so there's no intention of allowing parking on that green space.
No. No.
Absolutely not.
But sorry, that brings something up, a little bit of a change. I don't know whether people were using it, but people who parked up at the cemetery
Have to
before
come back this way.
may have snuck out the other way
Yeah.
previously. They won't be able to
Right.
because
Yeah.
there is a gate up there, so, yeah.
Good to know.
Locating food vendors in other spaces, which would be private property, like on Flatiron Road, or are there other, do you solicit homeowners on the route?
We haven't to date. If that is a big problem that we need more food vendors, that's something we could think about for next year.
Yeah.
We'd have to have more vendors than
Right,
the
'cause there's more
space. Right now, I'm
space,
trying
right.
to find more food vendors.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's, okay. And the parade route will be the same,
Same.
ending, the same ending.
And we've got someone working on food vendors, so stay tuned. I think it's great that you're gonna move a couple up here.
Yeah.
Just a reminder to keep it on the green side
Yep.
to allow for, handicapped folks to sit on the road there. And I think if ringing the green could be cool, make it, that's the intention at least of making that space usable. So that would be great. Any other questions?
Mila, I have
Yeah.
a question.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why the gate couldn't be open for the 4th of July parade?
Yeah, we are not to use that road any longer. That is a
Okay.
private road that we have agreed not to use, so definitely cannot be
Okay.
open.
I think my concern about having food vendors up there is that it's already hard for people who are handicapped to leave after the parade because of the amount of people. And if we have food vendors, I'm curious if that would also encourage people to kind of block the entrances as they're waiting in line or sitting around eating food. So I'm curious about that potential impact.
Well, I think the expectation that the roads don't open until 1, remains, right? 2?
No, they open as the crowd
Yeah.
disperses. So
Yeah.
once things kind of settle down, then the road opens from Flatiron south.
Right.
So people can, make they can't go in front of the Warren store, they can
Right.
go
Right.
in south. So, but that's really the sheriff's call, like when it's safe enough to do that.
Yeah,
And it seems to have worked
worked.
for all the
But what
years.
we could do is have our security team, maybe have a couple security guards up by the food vendors when the roads reopen to direct cars and keep the people separated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just have a
that's
couple
probably a
bodies
good
there.
idea.
I mean, we're aware of it, and I think we have to figure it out as we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then improve it for another year.
Yeah.
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 With the vendors up in the parking lot here, is there enough room to have like picnic tables for people to eat?
In the green space that are
I
there
think,
now.
yeah, we have picnic tables there.
So people could use the green space for,
Yeah, that's why I was saying, as far as like those food vendors, if you can kind of make it ring the green space so that those people who are using the food vendors are gathering in the green space as opposed to the road,
right.
that might be beneficial.
Yeah, it's trade-offs and we're open to it.
Yeah.
The trade-off is the further from the road, the fewer people are gonna know that they're up here.
Totally.
Putting it on the road is, because it's the first year we'll have food vendors up here.
Right.
It's a way of signaling.
And it's probably unlikely that the food vendors will be doing much business while the parade is going on.
I don't know.
Tell you how better
A
next
lot of
year.
people sit up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kaylee, does that speak to your concern?
Yeah, I think that's fine. The only thing that I would suggest is if we're using that green space, hang on, Henry. The only thing that I would suggest is if we're using that green space, we check with the library to make sure they didn't have anything planned because it is their 125th year and they want to do stuff. So I'm not, and they usually have like a book sale going on outside.
It feels
too,
like this
during that
could
The
time.
book giveaway.
Yeah,
drive
yeah,
traffic there.
Right.
That would be nice.
And
Yeah,
they're great.
they,
The libraries are great.
Yeah,
that's reminds me of something else. The bathroom, there's bathrooms in the town hall.
We don't
have it in
usually
town.
access them. The
There are
porta
porta-lots
potties.
over here.
Yes, but there are people who are aware, if the door is open, and sometimes it is, that people are aware that there is.
We didn't leave the door open.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know why the door would be
The
open.
buildings aren't open on that day.
Right, right.
So we do have, I think you guys have 8 to 10 portalettes up here.
I think there's 6, but.
The,
Should we send them to your house, Carl?
yes,
Okay.
there are paid toilets in my,
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
25 cents a flush.
But no parking.
Really expensive.
All right, guys, do we have anything else before we wrap up this permit?
I do not.
Do I hear a motion to approve the 4th of July permit as submitted by Ben and the Matter Rotary?
so moved.
I heard Henry moving that.
Yeah, I did too.
Good job, Henry.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excellent. Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
Yes, everybody,
I
if I could
appreciate
just
it.
make one final comment. Susan has planned this for the last 18 years. She is now going to be president of the Rotary Club next year. Can't do everything, so I'm stepping in, so I'll be, filling her shoes. But just want to, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just want to
Yeah.
thank you for,
Big shoes to
Decades.
fill, Ben.
Decades.
Big shoes to fill.
Finally, the year came
I
when
was
I
just
said,
gonna
this is my
say,
last year.
we knew it was gonna come sometime, and we kept saying, no.
I will
Here
say,
it is.
I couldn't imagine a more seamless handoff. She gave me a spreadsheet with every single
sure
thing
she
to
did,
do
yeah.
and who to contact and everything. And then Rebecca and Dana have been helpful, so
Great.
some good hands, but
Awesome.
thank you.
Yeah.
Good job. Thank you
so much.
both.
Thank you.
Okay, local emergency management plan.
Yes.
Jeff.
Lem.
Susan.
So we just, somebody needs to sign the bottom line on the LEMP adoption form.
Somebody? Anybody?
A select board member, preferably.
Oh, okay.
But
I was just gonna say, we got
But
a
it
couple
can't be, it can be the
audience
mayor.
members. The mayor. Oh, let's get the mayor to do it. What?
Really, all it is it's the
You've updated it or something?
updated phone numbers, change the format a little bit. Like I said, I added the, it's not the cooling shelter annex, it's now the extreme weather annex. So for dealing with heating and cooling shelters, so we added that piece in with the piece that I submit to them will also include the Blueberry Dam EAP that we have. So yeah, all it is literally changing phone numbers from who's not in certain positions and things like that.
So it says, I hereby attest that the municipality has adopted NIMS and LEMP at a warned public meeting as stated above. That's what you want signed?
Is that the bottom line? There's one line where my name and then
Yeah.
right there.
So we have to,
We adopted the
Accept.
NIMS back in 2014.
oh, okay.
So that's been adopted, it's just that a select board member has to sign
Oh,
each
so
year.
we don't have to make a motion here, it's just that it
Nope.
has to be signed off on. Okay.
We don't move anything? We don't move the updates or the acceptance of the plan? Okay.
Are you gonna bring up the ICS?
Yes.
Okay.
So I would like to see all of the select board members, including, I will say, department heads, to take what is called the ICS 402 class, which is for senior administration. It is a 3-hour class that can be brought here. We could do it from like 1 to 4 so that people are getting paid for being here to do it. It's highly encouraged.
Do we get paid?
We get lots of that today.
I'll pay you guys.
Oh, thanks, Jeff.
I
Out of
don't
your
pay well.
stipend?
I don't pay very well, but you know,
$1 an hour?
maybe.
Okay.
I'll teach you how to use a fire extinguisher.
Okay, good,
No, I already
good.
did that.
That's good pay.
So it's really something that should be a class that people should take.
Can you tell us what it is?
So it's
Incident?
for senior officials.
Right.
Basically, what it is it explains how, when an emergency happens, what are the different criteria, what is to be expected from FEMA, things like that.
What does ICS stand for?
Incident command
That's
system.
right, yeah, okay, that's right.
I think I've taken this class online. Didn't I? Which one did
I don't
I?
think 402 is offered online, but
I took one of them online, and it's
Okay.
all about like the tiers of command. Like
Yeah.
if this happens, who
the
do you call?
benefit is that Harvey has taken ICS 100, so that is your saving grace.
Oh, excellent. Good job, Harvey.
Okay.
Somebody's in compliance.
So yeah, I just need that signature and then I'll sign it and then it'll get sent into the state tomorrow.
Okay.
That's it.
Talk to us a little bit more about this ICS training.
The one I just explained to Camilla.
Yeah. When would it happen?
You guys pick.
What do you need from us?
And who's involved?
So it would be the select board, it would be like Andrew, Dana, Rebecca. You could say zoning.
Marie?
No, Marie wouldn't necessarily have to be involved. Just because she doesn't make any decisions based on the town. And she's part of the library, but she's not necessarily what's what I'm looking for.
Agent, authorized agent?
Yeah, an authorized person to necessarily spend
Representative.
money when there's an emergency.
Okay.
There's gonna be a different training I'd like her to do just because of the cooling and heating shelters.
Right.
Of what's involved with that, but that would be something different. I mean,
about
she's more than welcome to
Andrew?
take the 402 class, I don't care.
Andrew?
He said Andrew.
Oh, yeah.
Brent?
Who?
No, not Brent.
Brent could take it, I mean, it's for town officials.
Okay.
And technically, he's a town official because he voted.
Right.
So, and that's why I said if doing it during the week and doing it from 1 to 4, you close the office in the afternoon, and I have an instructor come in and they'll use the screen and present it, and it doesn't cost us anything.
It'll bring us into compliance for,
It'll bring everybody into compliance, but it'll also get people to understand when there is an emergency, how some of the funding works, how having a spending authority works. Because right now, the way that the town is set up, each department head during an emergency can spend $5,000, the select board chair can spend unlimited, and that's it. So my guess is that $5,000 might pay for 2 truckloads of gravel. So it's getting people to have conversations. There was talk about doing it with Waitsfield, but I figured if we had roughly 10 people, it would be better just to keep it in-house.
Trying to coordinate it with just us, it's gonna be hard enough.
That way it's the town of Warren talking amongst the town of Warren,
Right.
and there's no confusion.
Right.
So, you guys tell me an afternoon that works. I mean, we can do a morning too. I don't really care, but
Rebecca, do you wanna maybe put out an
Yep.
email to all of us
Yep.
and with
I
some
think it's a great
suggestions?
idea. I think we talked about it a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
and I'm totally on board.
I know Andy, Bob, and Luke had all taken it. They had gone. All 3 of them had gone elsewhere to take it. So, I figured it was just easier bringing it here with the amount of people. And
Yeah, that would be great. We can accommodate that.
I think it's excellent.
Yeah.
let's draft an email tomorrow.
Yep.
Thing.
Kaylee's excited, I can tell.
Hey, I put in the chat, I'll bring snacks.
Did you?
Good.
See, you're not
Yes.
here to manage this. How am I supposed to pay attention to these things?
Just
Excellent.
keeping you on your toes.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that. And I am holding you to snacks. Okay, I think that's good.
Yep.
Great. Lichen Rock road traffic. Just briefly, we received a letter from the residents of Lichen Rock Road expressing some concern about increased farm traffic on what used to be a town right of way. There's
It
some
used to be a trail.
there's some confusion as to whether they're like who's responsible for these roads and if they can be improved the way they have been. So the neighbors have asked us to do a site visit and sort of look into this. I wonder if the first step might be tasking either an attorney or the zoning administrator with some clarity around those roads.
Yeah, I wouldn't say an attorney yet, but I would say
Yeah.
first we need to look at what permits exist and what
Yeah.
what curb cuts have been given, and yeah, I'd love to get some background on
Yeah, let's
what we're looking at before we.
dive into that.
Yeah.
And I think there is a possibility that there may be some leeway given to the farm as an
There's always
agricultural zone. So the zoning administrator may not hold all of the information, which is why I said we may need to ask an attorney, and maybe that's VLCT with our hours that we get every year and just sort of field the question to them. I'm not really sure which route we should take.
I just feel like until we understand it
We certainly can't
better,
solve
we can't ask
anything.
that. Well, and we can't really ask an attorney until we understand
What the
looking
issue
at.
is.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
It looks like from the map that there was a discontinued town highway within this. I'm a little bit confused
Is
about.
this
It
Right.
looks like the road got changed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And they're driving on the old
Exactly.
road, and the town moved the road to the
yep.
looking down
to
the
its
road.
current location now, right? And so the question being raised is, do they, the farm, have the right to maintain, manage, and improve the discontinued right-of-way that accesses their maintenance shed?
I didn't say really exactly what they want in their letter. Like, they're not asking for something specific to happen. They're just
Yeah.
curious if we would go take a look at it and see if there's other opportunities, but they haven't.
Yeah.
They didn't ask for anything specific.
No, they didn't. And from what we understand, they've spoken with DeFreeze, they support the farm, they're not trying to cause problems or make an issue, but some of the people that the farm hires in on a seasonal basis or even on like a case-by-case basis aren't as considerate of pedestrians as the farm workers themselves, who are really wonderful. Like, as a resident of that road, they slow down, they're super thoughtful, and it's the random few in my experience that are going too fast. So I think we just need to understand if the DeFreeze have the right to use what looks like a right-of-way that was granted to them, and sort of start there.
And we have heard from Lichen Rock residents, we have not heard from the
From the
DeFreeze.
DeFreeze.
So I
And-
think they also need to be
Represented.
ask for their information, any information they may have too, so.
So-
Collecting data. I think.
Yeah, so Rebecca, let's see what information we can get from Ruth that she's aware of, and ask the DeFreeze to weigh in on what their understanding of the use of that space is.
Should we ask to share this with them? Have they seen, they've not.
They've
I know
had
they have.
conversations. I don't know if they've seen
They have
this,
not seen this.
but we certainly can share that with them.
Yeah, it's a public document,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And ask them to weigh in. And ultimately, what it sounds like to me is a brainstorm, like,
Right,
how do we solve this?
right. Yeah, how do we make it work as well as we can for everybody?
Kaylee, Harvey, you have any thoughts?
My only question
That
is.
sounds like the right approach.
Oh, go ahead. Yep.
I think Harvey said that sounds like the right approach. Kaylee, what do you have?
My only thought is I just kind of want to know more about what what their intention is, because it seems like there really wasn't an ask in there. It was just more like there's increased traffic. Do they just want the traffic to stop? Do they want to come up with a better schedule for farm management? Like, what is it that they're trying to do? Are they upset about the wear and tear on the driveway that gets cross-cut? Like, I think it was unclear what the ask was to be.
Well, we can ask for clarification in writing on that front. I think what has been spoken is just that they'd like some improved awareness and safety. That's the ask that was verbalized.
May I suggest that we, like we just said, do a little bit of background, get our own information, and then put this on an agenda at some point when both parties, all parties, can come in and we can have a bigger conversation about it. So we're not
Absolutely, yeah.
trying to fill in blanks.
And before that meeting, scheduling a site visit.
Yes.
And
Definitely.
to that end, is that something that we'd like to do now?
Schedule a site visit?
Schedule a site visit? Or would we like to do some research,
I'd love to
discuss
get-
it
yeah, make sure
again,
we have the
and
research
then
when
do
we
a
get the
site
site
visit? Or how do we want to do it?
I think that I would prefer to have the research done before we do a site visit,
Definitely.
and then let me see what I can find.
Okay, so
By
that
Friday.
that would require then putting it on another agenda prior to inviting both parties, having a conversation. The only thing that concerns me about that is, given the lack of clarity, I'm sort of curious to hear from these parties, which is why I wonder if it might make sense for us to get our research together, plan a site visit for a couple of weeks from now, and put them on an agenda.
Yeah, isn't that what we?
Yeah.
That-
Well, no, I think the request was just to get the research, then decide on a site visit, and then meet with the parties.
Oh, the only reason I was saying it that way was, I don't know when we'll have the research, but how quickly we get the research, so.
Yeah.
Just plan the site visit for after we get the research. So we
Right.
could pick a date, and if we have to move it, we can move it.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. I agree that order. Get the research,
Yeah.
do the site visit, have the meeting. That would be my suggestion.
Okay,
Sounds logical.
what does it look like for everyone involved as far as a site visit, and how far out do we think we want to go?
When do we think Ruth might be able to do with doing some research, right? This came to her first.
Correct.
So, did she do any research at that time? Or
I don't
just-
believe so. I think
okay.
she just took the information.
And
That's
and
done.
ultimately, one of the questions is about a curb cut, which is not a thing
Right.
that Ruth oversees. It is something that we oversee.
But she would have it on. record,
She
I
would have it
believe.
on file.
She should.
She
have
would.
It.
All
It should
the
be on file.
road permits are in here, yeah.
So they might be asking for a new road cut, and you know, like when you look at this map, it makes an obvious sense just
Yeah.
to do that, right? And solve the whole problem.
Show me what you were.
Just where that black line is,
Instead of right angle.
just, you know,
By the maintenance shed.
Onto airport. Road.
Yeah.
just, you know,
They can't.
I think it's
Yeah.
too steep.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we've got a
It's
ravine
down
there.
over
we've
the
got-
edge.
Yeah.
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 You can't get there from here.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It would,
Not gonna happen.
and that's also on a hill.
Is it?
Yeah, so it would be a pretty tricky access point.
So we will have another meeting on the 10th of June and the 24th of June. Do we want to try and have a site visit before a planned meeting?
I'm available. I have some flexibility the first week of June for a date time, not on Friday, June 6th, but the 2nd through the 5th, 3rd through the 5th? 2nd through the 5th.
Same. I cannot do Friday, but I can do anytime that week.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you say the 2nd through the 5th of June?
Right.
Oh, I asked if we wanted to plan it in line with a select board meeting. Like on the 10th.
Oh, on the same
or
day?
on the 24th, prior to.
Oh, I see. Do
I
it
see.
before.
Yeah.
Right before the meeting.
Right.
Um,
That, we don't have to. I'm gonna hold off on the week of June 1st because I have a deadline.
yeah, right, okay, fair enough.
Well, yeah, I think if you're all going to do this site visit together, we have to
It
publicly
has to be a
warn.
warmed meeting, so it's a little bit easier to just sort of do that before we all get together anyway and change the time. Would it work for you all to meet on the 10th at 5:30?
Yeah, I could do that.
Sounds good to
I
me.
can do that.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Do we want to then ask both parties to come on the 24th? Or do we want them to come on the 10th?
I would say the 10th.
I think the 10th.
All right.
Yeah.
How's that meeting looking? Sorry, we should have
And-
started there.
Well, let me see. We have not a lot of stuff, so I think it'll be fine.
Okay.
And then if we have to, if both parties can't attend on the 10th, I think that would
Then we can
give us
move
the
it.
opportunity to move it to the 24th. And,
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
I think that's good, and I think it, makes sense to deal with it in a timely fashion given the activities happening now. And it may be as simple as a conversation. Okay, anything else on that?
Nope.
Great. Project list.
Yeah.
Hey, only 5 minutes.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah.
I know Ruth has the contact information for the group that made the initial request. Does anybody have DeFreeze information?
I do.
Okay.
Maybe Davies.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Project list. Kaylee, are you with us?
I am here.
Good, we need you. Okay, guys. What do I have to do now? I have to join the meeting and share my list, or
Do you want me?
yes, please.
I have to join the meeting first.
Would you please? And immediately mute yourself so we don't
I was
get
just gonna say, just-
insane reverb.
Be prepared for the.
So Harvey and Joel, we have a project list going that once you have your logins, you'll have access to, and it's an administrative list that allows us to track our projects. What projects are
I
going?
shared it with.
She did, okay, so you have access to it. Harvey, do you have access to it as well?
Yes, yep.
Okay, good. Do I have to do something? I have to make you a,
I got it.
you can do all of it
Yep.
from your side?
Okay. I did go through and update some stuff the other day.
Yeah, that's great. So the intention here is that we check in with this list, set due dates, assign people, sort of run projects, and stay on top of all of the myriad of things that we have to do.
Look, we only have one due date.
This is true.
I saw my name.
The doors are happening. There is no real due date, but we could put like 7/31/25.
Yeah.
Do we know what's happening with the storage in the basement for the?
We basically
Town
we just put it on hold until we figured out the line of credit.
Which has been secured.
Yep. So Marie I think was off until tomorrow I think. So I was gonna touch base with her and see if she wanted to. I think she was gonna start at state surplus and go
Great.
from there.
Yeah, she's had good luck with that, with her office
Yeah,
stuff, so
yeah.
that would be great.
I don't
So
know if
guys,
there's necessarily a due date for that, but
no,
you know.
I think the hope was that it would get done sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Given the infringement upon the emergency exits that stuff is causing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I mean, I know I alleviated that, but that was months ago now, and I haven't been down there, so. The intention here, and please everybody jump in, is which projects do we want to prioritize, and does anybody feel like they can make some movement on some of them? So we've talked about needing to move forward on traffic calming, which does have a due date of 12/31/25.
Right.
Oops.
That was.
And so we have a grant that is, and that, oh, that's Trout Hall, sorry. So that's not really right, is it? That's Trout Hollow, West Hill. Not the village.
Where are we?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at my own, that's why. I'm gonna change this.
I have a quick question, just jumping back to the storage and emergency exits of the library. That seems like it might be something we want to prioritize just for the short term, given that we're going to be blocking off the main entrance to the library.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Jeff, maybe he and I can go over tomorrow and have a conversation about it.
Just keeping it clear, you mean not providing a storage solution, just making sure.
Yeah,
that
I think, I haven't put eyes on it.
Yeah.
So sort of getting from him what he's thinking, and seeing it for myself, and then maybe letting Amanda and Marie sort of take off with that project.
Yeah, I think that was the intention, that they could just try and facilitate some shelving or cabinetry
Yeah.
or something that would hold the kids' toys and things that are all stored in the emergency exit.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's a conversation that needs to be had, because I think they thought that we were going to get storage because we wanted it cleaned up.
Yeah, the last time
Perry.
I bye Perry.
Bye,
The
Perry.
last time I talked to Marie, she said she was on hold because they were directed not to spend any funds. So I think once we let them know that they can do that,
Okay.
they could probably make some good progress
Yeah.
there. And I'm happy to help if I can.
You're busy until June.
I think,
I know.
yeah. So I'm just
I-
gonna open my other screen. I think it's gonna. Nope, it's not. Okay, perfect. I just want to make notes for myself.
I want to make sure that we just close the loop on the traffic calming. That's something that we need to plan for projects to be complete this summer. So Harvey, Joel, you may or may not have noticed the striping that happened downtown when we changed
Last year.
Yeah, last year when we changed Flatiron to, it looks kind of like one way. It's a shared roadway with that large pedestrian section. We added crosswalks. We widened the shoulder.
Narrowed the bridge by the school.
Yeah, narrowed the roadways and increased the size of the shoulder with, supposed to have markings of pedestrians. But apparently
Yeah.
that's hand line work that never
that's
got
right.
redone. So the intention with all of that striping was, let's try these measures to see if it slows people down, if it makes people feel safer, if it improves pedestrian traffic in the village center. And then once we had done the sort of like inexpensive trial run, we had discussed making more permanent changes.
Because we have the remainder
Yeah.
of a pretty significant grant that we have not spent. So we have grant funds that we need to spend by the end of December that we can apply to those projects if we
Right.
want to.
What are the significant changes mean?
So for example, where there's a painted crosswalk, we went around and around and around about, should we have cobblestones like we have down by the store? Should we have a speed table? Should we have a removable speed bump? Like, what are the things that would make those crosswalks safer and slow traffic primarily on Main Street and Brook Road? Brook Road down to Main Street.
Right, yeah.
And also possibly on the south end of Main Street. Although we didn't hear as much
Right.
in that regard. So like continuity throughout the village, should we do these pavers, right? But then we keep raising the question of, well, the pavers are being poorly maintained, they're really loud, is that the right approach? Do we want a speed table to actually slow people down? Do we want to add lighting to a bridge? These are all things that are on the table, and they originate from a report put together by VHB, who consulted with us and a large group of townspeople. We walked the village, we talked about the issues, they gave us suggestions, and our intention was, let's start with the line striping, see how it works. What else will we want to do after that?
And has there been feedback?
I was just going to jump in and say, I know we have it going on Lincoln Gap right now, but to put the tapes down again and see, we had record of what kind of speeds we were seeing on Brook Road before we started the project. It would be interesting to see if our striping has potentially changed that at all, maybe, before we make any of those things permanent, maybe, or say, well, we got to up our game because that didn't really change things. I don't know how many times a year we get that from CDRPC, but
I think we just make the request. I think they have multiple, tapes. So, it might just, if I ask them now, once they move it from Lincoln Gap, they can put it here.
Maybe.
So I think it would be helpful for you guys on traffic calming at least, if Rebecca, could you share that report with them, please? And you can look through what VHB suggested. And some of the things that I really liked were the idea of doing art in the streets, like where there is an intersection, having some kind of mural. And maybe there's an opportunity for that to be a project done by the high school. Or it could be funded through the grant for an artist to come do something like that. I know that it's a temporary, paint will only last so long, but it's one of the ways that, VHB and others have said this is a way to draw people's attention to the roadway. And so to slow people down without necessarily putting a thing in their way, which makes the road crew unhappy, or adding more signs that none of us see. So,
Some of us really don't see them.
Some of us don't see them, some of us do. And so trying to be creative about ways that we can improve safety in the village. In particular, you know, the kids walk down that road, that crosswalk is great. The sign keeps either getting taken or abused
Damaged, yeah.
in some capacity. And so we've had conversations about what does that crosswalk look like? Do we need flashing lights, which none of us really want, right, in the village? Or how do we achieve these things?
And if we
I
put-
did have a question about the lights, actually. Curious if we could get a crosswalk sign that has the button that allows people to just hit the button when they need to cross. I don't know if that's something we've
We had
looked
talked about
into.
that for, instead of that sign getting stolen
Yeah.
every other week, putting in a more permanent that has the flashing lights, you know.
But like, it wouldn't flash all the time,
Right,
just
only once somebody
when
presses
people
it.
are trying to
Right.
cross.
Right,
But you have to bring power to it.
right.
Right.
That's the expensive bit.
So one thing that occurred to me is, when we're ready to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Let's advertise it, let's get as many of the same townspeople who were on the first walkthrough as
Yeah.
possible to come in and give their, how did it work, what do we wanna see, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
I think that's a great idea.
Get them, give them feedback.
The paint might be doing the job. You
Might
don't
be
even
doing
know.
the job,
Right.
or yeah. When we know we've had some feedback about it, like the
Yeah.
wrong side of the road for walking against traffic or whatever. But I just think let's get those brains back in the room and make sure
Yeah.
that whatever we do decide, they're on board with.
Yeah.
To
And
the
then-
extent possible.
We do have a call into VHB with the thought process that we might be able to extend the physical scope of the project out toward 100 a bit more, to improve safety and in what unfortunately probably limited ways we can, but to sort of consider the intersection with 100 and West Hill.
Kaylee just put something up about putting a schedule to some of this stuff. She said it might be more beneficial. I think she put it in the chat.
I don't know how you want to run the meeting or this part of the meeting, Devin. I just put in a suggested pathway for us to get
Yeah.
through this. If
Yeah,
that's helpful.
that's exactly what I was thinking, that we should schedule when we want to deal with traffic calming. And I was just trying to give some background to Joel and Harvey.
Very, very helpful. Yes.
So what do we think? We can pull up our list of agenda items.
Yeah. Have we added Lichen Rock to the?
I mean, I would love to take a look at the report and maybe, when we walk around town, we can do it in the context of that report too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just shared my
Great.
screen. Harvey and Joel, I will share the spreadsheet
Okay.
with you guys. I'm trying not to share too much with your personal emails so that when you have your Warren BT, you can kind of keep everything
Yeah.
segregated to that.
Thank you.
So, you know, I'd really love to prioritize the traffic calming with the hopes of getting some kind of project done within the grant timeline. Which feels like we should put it on an agenda sooner rather than later. Oh, look, you put it on the 10th.
I was hoping that we would have some information in regards to the Route 100
Extension.
intersection.
Yeah.
But I had to send them another poke today. 'Cause I
Yeah.
sent that to him in early May, that email.
So that's, you know, 2 weeks away.
Mhm.
Does that feel like enough time to get our stakeholders involved?
Well, so we're gonna have Lichen Rock road crew
You-
here that
No,
night.
So probably maybe it should be
Probably the 24th, maybe. Yeah, I think
Or
that sounds
flip
like
them.
twelve. Yeah, or flip them and give more time for, yeah. But, or maybe we determine that by asking
The people when they can come.
Lichen Rock
Yeah.
crew when they can come and give them the other slot.
Okay.
Yeah,
Make sense?
yeah. Let's do that.
Well, I know who the stakeholders were from that report. I don't think it specifies who was.
No, I think it's maybe more, well, there might be some specific people, but just making sure that we advertise it. that we-
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's it's definitely the village people, and there should be a list somewhere of who
It's on that site
attended
visit?
that
Yeah.
site visit.
Okay.
But I know that, April, Kenny and Richard, Shelby and Grady,
Lisa,
Alice,
Sue.
Sue, Marilyn, and Mike. I think Brooke was here. I don't know Brooke's last name. She's a local mom. She's got 3 kids in school. I think Ellen from the library was here for
Okay.
that.
I can look.
Yeah. We had a really good turnout.
Okay.
Dorothy was here.
Okay. I'll look it up.
Maybe the Sherrys, I'm not sure. Yeah. So I think that's something, Kaylee, talk to me about this spreadsheet that you built. How do we add this?
You just add the date that we're talking about it to under the due date, and then we can just mark it as in progress for now.
The date that we're talking about, what in the due date is your thought
The
process?
traffic calming.
So which date though? Right now, I think we have when the grant is
Yeah.
expiring. Do we want to do something closer term, like?
Maybe this update
the
should
agenda.
actually.
Well, you also have the opportunity, so you see that update 4.8 column? You can change that to 527 and just write in that it's scheduled to talk about 610, if that's helpful,
Okay.
or 624.
I'll put both.
All right, the town garage, we know we have a bond vote November 4th. STR, working on maintenance contract with the town.
Oh, yeah. How are we doing on that?
Not so good.
Have we talked to people and they're like, no? Or we
Well, so for example, last week, Marie and Amanda happened to be out at a conference all day, so it was volunteers. And one of the volunteers went downstairs to the basement and there was significant water. Who cleans that up? Me?
Oh, I thought
Brent?
maintenance contract with the town though was.
I think this was
Have we
like a
done
maintenance
anything?
person.
Yeah.
Have we had any luck? I mean, like, have we even asked people and they said no? Or-
There were a few people that sort of said, yeah, I'll do it. And then they have not responded to emails.
Do we want
Put
to
on
let Joel and Harvey know what
Yeah.
we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's kind of a hole a gap in our system right now. We obviously have road crew that takes care of highways and bridges and that kind of thing. We have contractors who do our electrical and that sort of thing. But the little bits of maintenance that come up, maybe where it's, we need to hang a paper towel rack, or we need to clean up water that's spilled or whatever. We don't have anybody assigned to do that, and right now it's kind of falling a lot on the town administrator, or on people who otherwise have other things to do. And so we've talked about, is there a way to sort of have an open contract with a person in town or in the community who we could put a list together, probably more likely than the urgent thing, but put a list together of things that need done. They would come in and check off the things on that list.
Is there a budget for that kind of person?
We did put something
We
in.
did put a small budget in.
Yeah, yep. I don't remember what it was, but it's in there. Maybe.
Well, we added 15,000 to building maintenance, but that wasn't that, right? We had
No, we
another
added
line
it to the
item.
other, to the
It's
to,
contracts, wasn't it?
the facilities.
Oh, facilities.
So like the cleaning,
Yep,
Right.
staff, and I'll have to look and see what we added
what
to
we
that.
added.
10.
And so this all goes back to the conversation that's been happening since Barry,
Yeah. Barry, yeah.
since Barry left us. May he rest in peace. About a facilities manager kind of position, because as the clerk of, what was he? Sorry.
Department of Public
Department of Public Works, head of Department of Public Works, he oversaw a lot of those things. The maintenance of the buildings, any and all needed repairs, etc. And we haven't filled that position, and we wonder, do we need part-time, do we need full-time, is it something we can contract out? How do we mop up the floor when the groundwater is seeping up through the town hall? Who hangs new toilet paper holders? Who fixed the toilet paper dispenser when it's broken, or the changing table, or
hangs the sign
or
when we get
hangs
rid
the
of
sign when the sign
Took us
happens,
9
or
months to
repairs the
set.
rotting sills on the back of the building, or puts together a painting schedule, all of those things. So we're trying to figure out how to crack that nut.
And this year, not wanting to, stress our taxpayers anymore, we already have, we definitely didn't go forward with a new position. So our solution was to just put money in and hope that we could maybe find somebody who was willing to be, I don't know, on retainer's the right word, but.
Kind of like a property management company. I imagine like if you have a second home, you have. Sorry. We'll call Vacasa. You have a second home, you have a property management company that they know when there's water and they go fix it. And we want one of
Tree
those
limb
people.
needs to be, whatever. Yeah.
So, any ideas?
Yeah. Any suggestions?
Help, please.
Yeah, I mean, the project management, like a,
Property maintenance.
property management company seems like would be ideal for that kind of situation. I don't know if one of those, what their rates are,
Yeah.
but like they have a team and they're usually like ready
it's
to
just,
roll.
it might be such small potatoes. I mean, my sense is that most of our property management companies are kind of up to here with work and down to here with staff, and we're such a, well, we might want you to do something, I don't know, but we can ask. We can definitely.
Well, we're gonna have also a brand new shiny building that will definitely require some maintenance and some oversight, so
Just not this.
maybe that's, yeah.
Wait, are you talking about the
Camilla,
pavilion?
I bet
Or the
that-
I'm
town?
talking, well, yeah,
You said
that
you
too,
got
I meant the
15K
town
in the
garage,
budget.
but, yes.
And you told that company it's 15K,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
they would be interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
If you
what
told
I
them I
think.
want you 2 hours next week
Right.
and maybe 4,
Yeah, you're
it'd be
right.
like, but if you told them, hey, look,
We have
here's
this
the
much.
budget,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
And here are the repairs that need doing, and
you
please
tell-
come advise
and you
us.
tell me what else needs to be done. Did
Yes.
you see something that needed to be done?
Right.
Do it.
That's what I was envisioning.
Yeah, I mean, they Casa, Colin, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe find
Yeah.
interest there.
Yeah. That,
I wonder
It's a good
if
place
that
to
looks like
start.
putting out an RFP to project management firms.
Or onto like Front Porch
Property.
Forum of somebody who wants like,
right.
to
Some handyman
bang it
that
out
wants
in
some.
50,
I mean, if
really
it's a
quickly.
15,000, whatever the
15
budget
grand.
is,
Yeah.
the minute it's over 2,500.
I was just gonna say that amount of money, we would have put
Yeah.
out an RFP on
Yeah.
that, so,
We can work on something like that.
yeah. Yeah.
I think
Let's
that
do
might
it.
be the way to solve it, because if you get someone in saying, hey, there are a bunch of maintenance repairs that need doing, and we'd like someone available on call when there's an emergency.
Right.
Now they know they have work, they're more willing to come and do those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Kaylee, Harvey?
Be a lot easier.
Have we, I know we've talked this over and
Yeah,
over
I think-
again. Oh, go ahead, Harvey. You have a bit of a delay.
No, I'm sorry. No, yeah, there's a storm outside, so my internet's not great, but I think a property management company would add a lot, probably more than just an individual, because they'd have multiple resources for different types of repairs and would be on call all the time, a KMK or there's a bunch of them around. I think that'll work.
Kayla? Oh, did you?
I was just wondering if VLCT might have kind of a draft RFP that we could borrow for something similar. And have we actually talked to VLCT about this need or look to see what other towns have done to meet this without hiring? And I know we've talked this over since I've been on the board and probably worked on it before I was on the board, but I just am curious if there's maybe just a solution that other towns have come up with.
Yeah, I can ask around.
I think it's called the road crew.
Yeah, I think all too often it is called
Good
the
luck
road
with
crew
that.
and the town administrator and the, whoever you got. I don't know. I like the RFP. Doesn't seem to me like it's complicated.
Doesn't
to
seem-
write.
No, I think I could draft something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just so we can get moving on something, because we are a little behind
Yeah.
since it's June
Yeah,
almost.
and if you want a door painted or
yeah.
Right.
work done outside, now's
And
the
I can
time.
I can talk to Lucas, who does our park maintenance, and I can talk to Chad at KMK and ask him like, hey, this is what we drafted, you guys do property management. Am I missing
Does that
anything?
cover it?
Yeah,
you know,
I think,
so.
and where that gets tricky is some property management firms just do lawns
Right.
Yep.
and snow plowing.
Right.
And others are more,
Right.
like Tim Hallgren does all the things
Right.
with Lincoln Peak.
Yeah.
But if we put out the RFP, that's their opportunity.
Yeah,
Exactly.
to say,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Like I know Lucas used to do everything for Pitcher Inn.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Yeah, and I wonder if I don't know that we want to tie park maintenance to it.
oh no, it would be two separate things. But I'm just saying,
think
like
she's just-
Lucas used to do everything for them.
This is
I understand, and we may get to a point where we need to combine them in order to entice someone.
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Progress.
Isn't there though?
I mean, I
Do we
think
have a date on that? Or?
it doesn't look like. I think everything is in progress. It's
Can we
just
check it off?
hasn't
Yeah, can
come
we
to
please
fruition.
cross one
through.
thing off? Is there anything we can cross off?
The
will you
interpretive
put-
panel will be able to be crossed off pretty soon.
Yeah, that's gonna be great.
Yep.
The pavilion's gonna be done soon. What's happening with the website?
Nothing.
Crickets.
I just need to. We just need to make a decision if we want Vickery Hill to add that section or.
Oh, you're talking
Oh,
town
you're just
garage.
talking about specific.
I'm talking.
Website. Absolutely
website.
nothing
Yeah.
has happened with the website. We need to draft an RFP to get some of these companies to come in and talk to us, listen to their spiel. There's several out there that do government websites.
It's gonna redo the Warren website.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's talk about this. We need to redo our website. So, we had a task force that was to be working on this. Has the task force ever met?
We met once.
And
What
what
are the
happened?
complaints about the current website?
It's not
Is there
intuitive. It's I've had trouble using it ever since I started here. I've heard lots of complaints. Yeah.
Take a
It's
tour.
Also,
Give us your thoughts.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
did that when I came on, and Cindy had asked for like, hey, so what do you not like and what should we fix? And I, put together a pretty lengthy document, and I think mostly none of that happened. And what we're running into is that the format of the website just doesn't really allow us to be interactive in the way that we want
Right,
to,
right.
and to
Demand
provide
it.
information to our townspeople in a way that makes sense.
yeah.
So I wonder if it's like not a task force project anymore.
I mean, I think there's certainly interested parties, and it would be a big job for one person, knowing who that one person
Yeah.
would probably be.
To write
So-
the RFP.
Just to take on this project.
Of reworking the
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't just be my opinion on what this new site looks like.
No.
We want,
No,
I agree with that.
Okay.
But how do we get there?
right? I think we just do it.
I think it's the RFP.
Yeah.
It's the first start,
Yeah.
right? We just have to, and the question is, do you need help writing that RFP? Could somebody
I mean,
offered
Macon
it.
drafted one, and for some reason there was
It was a lot.
there was a reaction that it was too all inclusive.
Yeah, so that was our first meeting, was to go over that RFP that he had done, which was great. He put a lot of time and effort into that. It was really appreciated. But we asked him to drill it down a little bit and make it a little bit more obtainable
Yeah.
for the town. And we just didn't get anywhere after that. So, and every time he sees me now at the grocery store, he hides.
Yeah, right.
So, is it something that you and another select board member could do?
Yeah.
Joel, Harvey, want to take on a project?
This is what I used to do for all that.
Ooh.
thing.
Really?
Oh,
Build
perfect.
websites?
I think we know who's it.
Awesome.
Hurry,
Yeah.
everybody, figure it to your notes.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome.
Except for
I
Joel.
used to do
Okay.
information architecture stuff, so
Perfect.
we could do this together.
So it won't
That would
take you long to
be
figure out
great.
that that's
Thank you.
needs to be replaced.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
not that bad.
it's
the,
not
the
horrible.
information's all there. It just
Yeah.
needs to be restructured.
Exactly.
It's not-
Exactly.
not very hard.
Right, and so we've had trouble with, like, if we want to add a page, for example, for the town garage, right? Like, we want to add a separate page for the town garage so that we can keep people up to date, provide
Who made the
information.
website?
Vickery?
Vickery Hill.
And is there like a content management system behind it that makes it easy to, or can
Yes.
you update? Can you
It's
put-
WordPress,
Huh?
so it's pretty easy to use. I find it easy. Some other people don't find it so easy. But the actual format of that page, whenever we ask for things to get changed around, there's a lot of barriers to those requests. And
We're not able to get changes.
yeah.
Okay.
So people find the buttons childish.
We want
So.
something sleek,
Yeah.
Yeah.
modern. We want a logo that isn't clip art.
Yeah.
You can even design a logo.
Gonna have AI.
That's why they have AI, or it has to have AI.
I have asked AI to help me
Yeah.
generate just fooling around
Yeah.
like on the weekends, and it's. Have I saved any of them? No, of course not. But they actually came up with some pretty cool
Midjourney's
stuff.
really fun to play with.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So does that sound like
So
something
can we
you
put
two
that
could
down?
connect on, and we could work toward an RFP for a website?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Reboot?
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
So project list, where are we on the agenda here? Are we
I
going through
think,
the
yeah,
entire
I was just
project
gonna,
list?
no, I was just gonna say, I think that feels like
We've made it-
enough.
Yeah.
Does that feel good for, like, we've made some progress? Guys, please familiarize yourselves with this. And it's a great way to be like, oh, I wonder what this is they're talking about. And then ask us questions and sort of bring yourselves up to speed on what we've been working on.
Yeah.
Did we make progress on the LHMP?
We're still waiting for. That's the local hazard mitigation plan,
Not the one we just
not
signed.
not the local emergency management.
I
plan.
know, but
We had a
we
meeting.
had a meeting.
Yes,
We had a
that's true.
preliminary meeting, so that's, we gotta show something.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Rebecca, we should add updating the project list to, like, it doesn't, maybe it follows each meeting as
Or
you're
once a
at
month or
once a month,
Yeah.
you know, like after the second meeting of the month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do
Add
some
that to my
updates.
update. Okay.
Yeah, that would be great. Okay, we're moving on. Good?
Yeah.
Town garage. I don't think we have an update.
I think
Crickets.
that's next, last week.
Pricing. Crickets. Any other business? Thank you for reminding us we needed other business on the agenda.
Oh,
Last
it wasn't on
week.
there, that's right. I don't have any other business though.
Jim, you got some business?
Business?
How's the barn?
Oh, my business is, the Historical Society is not going to pay for removal of town leaves.
What?
Oh, how do we get rid of the debris? How do we get rid of the debris?
Yeah, how do we?
Property maintenance, that's a different RFP.
But we gotta get rid of it soon, right? Because 4th of July is coming, we gotta clean that space up.
Yeah, is that something that Lucas might be
I
able
mean,
to
I've talked to
help?
Lucas. He's willing to clean it up, but how do we pay for that?
With our facilities management money?
Okay.
Right?
And then I'll
Or do we
clean
not
up the wood from out back.
Okay.
I'll figure out how to get that out of there.
Okay.
And I'll get the historical society to do that, but the rest of the stuff, you know, that's just cleaning up town property, so I don't know that we really want to be on the hook for that.
Do we have any idea what kind of money we're talking about?
I don't think it's gonna be very much.
It's a pickup load of yard
Couple
waste.
$100?
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe.
Well,
Okay.
oh, okay.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Knowing Lucas.
It's an hour. It's an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's an hour.
It's an hour.
But so the point that you're making here is that town property and
That's
shouldn't,
what
Shouldn't it be
I
a
wanted to
normal?
get to.
Yeah,
and
it should
shouldn't
part
we
of
be
our-
maintaining it?
What should we do with, how do we want to do that?
I think it should be being maintained.
So.
Yeah, but I mean, is it, you guys, did the
Annual
select board
budget.
give it to the historical society? What happened there? I don't even know.
Oh God, phone a friend.
Yeah. No idea.
Sorry. We
In which
lost
case,
those
right, then
documents.
we are responsible, but
Right.
I don't know. I just don't know.
Is this the barn? we're
The-
talking
Yeah.
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 Well, we can ask. I'll give Andy a call and ask him what his recollection is of that.
I'm gonna do you a favor.
Yeah.
I'll call Andy.
Great.
And find out, because you have your hands full.
Cool. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I
In our
think.
budget, don't we have a line item for the Historical Society?
Yes, but I think what Jim is saying is that he feels that it's because it's town property.
Building?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the grounds around the building. I mean, the budget for the Historical Society, at least the way I would read it, is to pay for programming or display cases or whatever it is the Historical Society is facilitating. The grounds, which are town property, would seemingly be mowed and maintained just like the rest of the grounds.
Yeah, I think it just wasn't.
It, possibly.
But it might not
Cemetery,
have
cemetery, I don't
Yeah.
know what the structure of a historical society is. The cemetery, even though we do ask the town for the money for it, but cemetery is responsible for maintaining their own grounds.
Right.
And it could be that the historical society
Yeah.
would be if that building has been given
Let me
to
see
the
what I can
historical
find
society,
for
so, yeah,
documents.
I know. Okay.
Yeah, so
I'll
that
call
was.
Andy and see what he
I was
remembers.
just curious as to
Yep.
how that really worked.
Yeah.
But Lucas is planning to pick that stuff up.
Good.
And once he bills us, we'll figure out how to pay for it.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't been done in a while. The leaves and stuff around it.
Yeah.
And I think they had a work day, what was it, last week?
Yeah, we
And-
cleaned up and
Yep, there
cleaned
was
up the
some
stone wall through some grass.
fencing that was back there that was rotted, and so yeah.
Anything else, Jim?
No, that's it. Oh, you guys should check out the pavilion. It's really cool.
We have, it's beautiful. It
Thanks,
is.
Jim.
And, yeah,
Jim has been instrumental in
Yeah,
helping.
thanks for all your help.
no, it's the builders that have been doing all the real work, so.
Can't wait to have nice days and work underneath it.
Yeah.
Oh, are you gonna put buntings on it for the 4th of July? Or is that, would it be too ugly?
Where do we
What
get
is it?
bunting?
What is the bunting?
You're right.
It's like the half
No. You hang in
circle
front of the,
flag that's.
yeah.
Oh, like
Kinda.
like Ginny.
Like
Yeah, because we have the historical ones. I like those.
I
Think
can-
about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would take away from the building, because the building's gorgeous as is, but
But
should
could
it be
it, they go on the
decorated?
railing? Maybe,
Yeah.
you know, on the railing so that they're
That's
not
easy.
covering the timber
Yeah.
structure. That might
Yeah,
be
Not
nice.
putting holes in the timber.
Right.
Give the builder a heart
ask Ben,
attack.
Because Ben and the Rotary decorates the whole village.
Oh, yeah.
With all the flags and
Yeah.
stuff. So they might.
Are we going to use the giant flag? Is that something we're
Oh,
displaying?
we were supposed to talk about the giant flag at some point.
Doesn't the fire department have
I
that?
think
Giant flag?
No, it's in the
but
display
it's-
case up
yeah.
there. Yeah, I
It's
haven't done
pretty-
any work on the display case stuff. I just haven't
It's
touched that
it's
yet. But
humongous.
What do we
It
mean
is.
when we
It-
say
it is
humongous?
I
It's-
mean, it's
it's
folded
the-
into a proper triangle, and it's 8 feet.
Yeah.
It's an 8-foot
Oh
triangle.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, 6-foot triangle.
Is that the one that we?
So it's like the size of the parking lot.
175th?
It's the size of this room, easily.
Yeah, I mean.
Is that the one we flew for the Warren 75th? The fire department 75th?
No. I
Who
don't think
flew
the
it?
fire
A crane? We have to get the crane back.
It was hung from the ladder truck.
Oh.
so. Was it? Was it that one?
Yeah. It was.
When
I
was
think
the
I did-
75th?
A couple
2
years
years
ago.
Okay, so that's possible that they busted it out, yeah. But
Well, that would be cool. But the fire truck goes in the parade, doesn't it?
Not the ladder truck, I don't think. That's true. Big clunker.
But that would take up a lot of space somewhere.
Provide shade for the food trucks.
Oh, we could, yeah. Ooh. We're getting ahead of ourselves now.
And we're supposed to be wrapping up.
We're supposed to be
Yes.
wrapping up. Are we good?
Yeah.
Any other business?
No, thank you.
Okay, should we sign some stuff?
Go for it.
Please. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
Okay. We have the application for the festival permit for the 4th of July. I'm gonna sign it. We approved it. There isn't enough space for all of us, but please do sign. We have payroll.
Payroll.
There's not a lot to sign just because we just met.
I move that we approve the payroll in the amount of $18,890.79.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 You want to put that on there? Yeah. Minutes of April 22nd. So this is just Camilla, myself, and Kaylee.
Yeah, that was the,
Do I hear a motion to approve?
that figure. I know.
April 22nd.
Motion to approve April 22nd minutes.
Second.
Second.
You can't vote because you weren't at the meeting.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Great.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Rebecca, do I have to come down and sign that one?
I was just gonna say.
Yes, I think you
Yeah, if
do.
you could,
That's right,
that'd
we
be
got
great.
three.
Yep.
Oh. This is
Oh
cute.
yeah, a little note on there.
So we have a liquor license for third class hotel, which means spirits, sorry, looking at my cheat sheet here. For the Pitcherin, we recently approved one, but that was for 2024.
What?
Because they neglected to renew it, and it will expire in June.
They've had some personnel changes at the Pitcherin.
So this one is for 2025, June of 2025 through June of 2026. Motion to approve. Third class liquor license for Sadie Dog LLC.
You have to speak up because we're recording, so. Go
So
for it.
moved.
Second. So moved.
No, there you go. Second. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved works
Aye.
really well.
Aye.
Or say it. Aye.
That's it, team.
Don't have the logistics down.
No, yeah.
We'll get there.
That's all we got.
It only took me 3 years, so.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Do adjourn.
Do I have a second?
You have a second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you both for participating via Zoom.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry I was late.
That's okay. You did miss the exciting
Thanks,
part,
guys.
though.
I'm sure I did.
All right.
Thanks. Survive
Good
the
night,
storm.
everyone.
Yep. Bye.